Hi, everybody, and I'm so excited to be here to talk about the NAB Show 2024. And we're excited to be bringing you the show floor tours this year. And today we're going to be talking to Hardy Tankersley, who's the VP of Visualizations at Silverdraft. He's going to be giving us one of our special tours, which is actually an overview of the entire floor to really understand what's happening on the floor, especially good for folks that have never been to the NAB show, or if you haven't been for a while. It's called Capture Your Vision. So I'm bringing in the fabulous Hardy to talk to us about what is so special. Why is it so important to go to the NAB show and this year, 2024?
Thanks, Laurie. Excited to be a part of this. The great thing about NAB is it's a place where you get a little bit of everything. As we define whatever this industry is that we're a part of, it's loosely video production and video distribution and content creation. You get to see all of the aspects of the business and the technology that come to bear on what we do. So there are kind of three big sections or topics, themes: create, connect, and capitalize. And the overview tour that we'll be doing will be taking you around and giving you like the broad exposure to what's important and what's to give you a broad perspective on what's there that you wouldn't be able to get on your own. So if you go and you wander the show just by yourself, it's huge and it's easy to get lost, and it's easy to get distracted, and it's easy to miss stuff.
And I threw up on the screen here actually a map of the show. This is the Las Vegas Convention Center. And as you mentioned, the show is actually split into these three content wells: create, which is really about workflows and storytelling and the making of the content; capitalize, which is focused on monetization and distribution; and connect, which is really more about standards and data and sort of the engineering backend. And all of these are scattered throughout the show floor. The Las Vegas Convention Center this year is going under a big renovation, so we're not going to have the North Hall. We have so many exciting things happening in the other areas, but it is, as you mentioned, overwhelming to figure it out.
So we go through beforehand and we scout and scan everything that's there at the show, and we pull together and curate a list of the most interesting, most compelling, most important things to see, and we take you straight to them.
NAB show is such an important show to really have a understanding of everything that is happening in content creation, all the tools that's happening in broadcast, that's happening in the blending of whatever the distribution solution is. And why I love that you're doing this tour is you really have this unique umbrella perspective of all these different buckets. And in your role at Silverdraft, you're certainly an expert in scanning technologies and the virtual production pipelines and in video streaming and in a lot of different aspects of this. So I think it's so exciting that we get to have you be our sort of Sherpa, through why the floor is so important. What is one of your favorite things, though, about being on a tour or giving a tour? Why do you think just the tour concept is so important?
So as I mentioned, I think the most important thing about the tour is just its efficiency. It's great for everybody to just take advantage of not getting inundated by the breadth of the scale of the show. But it's also an interesting time to be interactive. I mean, we communicate with these groups of people. Everyone gets into conversations, and it becomes a way to explore the interesting topics. We always, on every tour we do, we unearth interesting themes and perspectives from the different people on the tour that we can kind of share with the group. So that's always, we find something new every time. So that's always useful. It's almost like a consulting session based around whatever the needs are of that particular group and who's coming along. And it's a great way to get all these people together, and we have interactions even before and after, even when we're just walking around. But before we go out, we spend some time um, getting to know everybody and getting to know what the issues are. And then when we come back, we consult on specific issues, and we also take direction as we're going through the tour. The people who are on the tour can say, hey, let's go see more of that, or if something's more interesting, we'll spend time there. So it's not a specifically kind of rigid scripted event. It's more interactive and engaging in that way. So I think they're always fun to do.
Yeah, and I think I also love that it is a sort of walking brainstorming session in many ways, and especially when you have a floor that really has done a great job again of organizing by theme and by section, and how content flows, so that you can tackle different issues as you go along on the tour. What were you most excited about last year? What did you see last year that was so exciting to you? And I
Yeah,
know
and
you see everything, so it's hard to excite you.
everything's so exciting. Everything's exciting. Um, yeah, and just so people know, my background is both in technology and in entertainment. I ran digital products for Fox Broadcasting for many years. I spent some time in Silicon Valley. I worked at Apple. I've been building digital and interactive and content products for a very long time. So I've seen many incarnations of the show, and it keeps, as it's evolving, it keeps getting more interesting. Last year, kind of big themes for me were a lot about production techniques, virtual production, LED volumes, real-time rendering on LED stages is a fascinating thing. I think is a breakthrough for a lot of interesting production techniques. I think we every year is the year of digital, of SMPTE 2110 and digital distribution as a part of the pipeline from the beginning in terms of doing real-time production on set. Um, but I also think we see really interesting evolution, and especially this year, we'll see a lot of the monetization stuff, what they call the capitalized section, and how the businesses run and how the business is evolving. This year, we're in the midst of a large shift from pure subscriptions to more traditional ad models that are coming into the streamers. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that evolves and what people are saying and what technology providers are bringing to bear to support the digital ad business, which is kind of a new level of scale that it hasn't had before. And I also think, I mean, you can't avoid the influence of AI on everything, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that here this year. We're going to see it I see it as two big categories. There's a kind of contributing to creativity. So in the creation section, there are so many ways to use these new AI techniques to generate more and better creative. And also in terms of just basic production infrastructure, um, doing doing things like automatic translation and dubbing of languages,
Yeah.
uh, is really becoming mainstream, and automatic, AI brought to bear on basic things like color correction and specs and standards. So there should be a lot of interesting stuff to see. And the other thing about doing it at the NAB show is that you get to see stuff that you couldn't just see at home, or you can't just watch a demo on your screen. You'll be able to see large scale LED volumes. You'll be able to see real high resolution gear, the cameras and the lighting rigs and everything that is important to see in person physically and to get your hands on with it. That's a really valuable part of it. And why another reason for people to come to the show.
I love everything that you're saying. Well, and this is the first year that we're doing a overview tour, a capture your vision tour, because we really do feel like there's so much value in everything that you just said, in laying out the landscape of what's going to happen, and almost like that London bus trip where you can just get, your purview. So if you haven't been to the show in a long time, this is a perfect tour for you. Or if you've never been, it's a great tour with Hardy, as your Sherpa, who really does know about all the different bits and pieces and has a long history with the show, and can tackle this fabulous floor with all the exhibitors on it. Hardy, where can people follow you and see more of what you're doing with Silverdraft and everything that you're up to?
So my company is Silverdraft. We're at silverdraft.com. We're on all the obvious places, the social channels and everywhere. We're very active in we build high performance graphics systems. So very active in real-time 3D rendering and visual effects for everything from virtual production to virtual reality, and embedded immersive content and location-based entertainment. There are so many interesting places now where you can do photoreal imaging in 3D and merge it with the real world. We're going to see a lot of that next week, and the Super Bowl is going to be a huge opportunity for broadcast XR, real-time graphics embedded in the broadcast. We're going to show people what can really be done, and it's getting really interesting now that we can really blend the world of the digital and the world of the physical in the camera in real time. It's only going to get crazier from here.
Oh, I love that. And I love that the Super Bowl is a living demonstration. And then we can learn all about how they did everything at the NAB show floor. Well, Hardy Tankersley, Silverdraft, thank you so much for sharing your great tour, Capture Your Vision, a true overview of what's going to be happening at the show, and a great tour to take to really understand everything. And again, Hardy is filled with so many insights and stories about all the different technology, what's real, what isn't, which is one of my favorite things. So
I will tell you some stories. We'll go off the record.
We'll go off the record, right?
My tours are completely off the record.
What happens on the tour stays on the tour.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Definitely check out the show floor tours at the NAB show. When you go onto the site to register, you can pick what kind of tour you like. We have lots of different kinds, including this great Capture Your Vision overview. So thanks, everybody. And thank you, Hardy.